Saturday the 24th, and she was ready. She was tired, wore out, and we got to visit with her a little, and we know that she was ready because she said, "My mommy's in heaven, and that's where I'm going to." So, and when we got to go back to visiting with her a little bit, she talked about all of her brothers and sisters. And she talked in the sense that maybe they were still alive. And if she left out one, I would mention her name. And I know I mentioned Edna, and she said, "Oh yeah, she lived down towards Georgia somewhere." And she kept up with all of them and knew all of them. And it was good that we had that time with her. And then Joanne, I think, FaceTime with her on that one Wednesday. That she was in good spirits, good mood, and she was up coloring and doing things. And you know, that was just God giving us one last time to be with her. And we looked. She was born in 1921, and we know she died in 2021. But you think about that. In 1921, her family had just come through a great pandemic at that time, and I'm sure that Mammaw Williams probably was carrying her during some of this pandemic. And now here in 2021, Mama's leaving this world during a pandemic. And there's no telling what all went on in between all of those years. We know they lived through the Depression and wars and a lot of different things. And because of the pandemic, it really hit our family hard, I think, because we were shut down, not able to go in and see Mom, which they was doing it for safety purposes. But I think most of us, after we met Sunday and got to talking, I think most of us all had basically the same emotional feelings about that. We had anger, we had hurt, I think we went through some depression because of it. But because of thinking about all of this, and we had basically lost Mom maybe 10 months ago as far as a family. We didn't get to spend Christmas with her. We didn't get to spend her birthday. And I got to thinking, what about Mom? She lost us too. And no doubt it was hard for her to understand. You know, here she is in a different place. It wasn't home, and she wasn't seeing us as families. And when I was thinking about all of this, I thought, we both have lost everything. And I thought about Job in the Bible. And our life doesn't compare to Job, all that he went through. But Job lost everything. But he stayed faithful to God. And we know that in the end, God gave him back twice what he had. And I didn't understand this until in the last week, in the last couple of days, we got to go back in and visit with Mom. And she got to see us again. We was family again, whether or not with the mask and all the suits on and everything. If she really noticed us, but I think she did. But then the last 2 days when she was so sick, watching everybody at Star Regional, I realized Mom hadn't lost her family. She had gained it. They loved her, they cried with her, and then there we were, and plus a family at Star Regional. So Mom, in a sense, it's like Job. God gave her back twice. He gave her two families. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for all the people there. And Mom had good care over at this place in Athens before she went over. She had a lot of friends there, and all of the people treated her so great, and we're so thankful for that. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the stories we've heard about Mom. We've all heard them and talked about them all our lives just about. Talking to Benny the other night, and we were talking about all the different places that they had lived, and I don't know if any of us know where they all are, but I told Benny, I said, I think their family was world travelers. I said, at least they were in McMinn County anyway, because I think they hit all corners of McMinn County. I mean, you mentioned South Liberty, you mentioned Wesleyan, New Zion. It is amazing where all they lived. And with that many, they had no doubt had a hard life, but they made the best of it. Yep. And one of the stories I remember hearing all of them talk about is their transportation they had. It was Old George. Now, I don't know if remember if Old George was a mule or a horse, but I hear Mama and all of them would talk about that. All get on him, and I'm assuming 3 or 4 would be on him at one time. And that would be their transportation to get to school or wherever they want to go, or just riding around on the farms. And maybe one of these days we'll find a picture of old George, or maybe some of our other relatives has a picture of him. And then I think they created their own entertainment back then, and anybody that knew Ray knew that he probably was the head of all of it. But one of the things, the stories we've all heard, Mom and all of them talk about, is how that, I think it was her and Maggie and maybe Nellie, they slipped off one day and got down into Papa's moonshine. And they got kind of drunk. And we've all laughed about that. And she was telling that story when she was living over at this place, and she added something to it that I never had heard before, and I don't know if it's true or not. But she said Nellie really got sick, and she got sick in the back of Fred's car. Now you can imagine how that went over with Fred, him being the oldest of the family. So some of the stories, it was really great. And I guess one of the stories that I really like is hearing about Christmas time. They didn't know nothing, but they talked about how that Uncle Bart would show up, and each one of them would get like an apple and an orange and a stick of candy. And I always, when I would remember those stories and hear them, I would think that, we need to be thankful for what we have. But now, when I think of this story, in the last week or two, I think, we need to be an Uncle Bart. We need to reach out to those that are in need, those that don't have, and just give a helping hand to somebody along the way. And I'd like to reflect a little bit on our childhood, being raised by Mom. And I think, back then, growing up, we didn't have all the walk-in clinics and all of the hospitals as we do now. And I think Mom, like all mothers, they had to wear a lot of different hats. And I think one of the hats that Mom wore, she was our doctor. She took care of all of our scrapes and bruises. And thankful that Jerome was the firstborn, I think she got to learn on him a lot with all of his broke arms and motorcycle wrecks and the sled accidents going through fences and stuff. So he gave her a lot to train on. And one thing, my personal experience with her being a doctor was when I was young, I had asthma real bad. And I couldn't breathe a lot. I'd be real sick, and I remember Mom holding me up in bed so I could breathe and sleep. And that's the type of mom and doctor that she really was. And hearing all of seeing the things posted on Facebook about people, what they remember about Mom, about her cooking and different things. And, I remember Mom was a good cook, and she loved to cook. And some of the stuff I heard people posting that their favorite food was, I'd forgotten about a lot of it, but a lot of them, and I didn't like either, so I didn't think much about them. But one of the things I think that we got to enjoy that a lot of the others didn't get to enjoy was when Jerome and Daddy would come home with the quail. And Mama could fry those quail up, and man, it seemed like we had the greatest thing in the world. And then when we would have Mama would fry up rabbit, make rabbit gravy. And then the biscuits, everybody loved their biscuits. And then with that rabbit gravy and the rabbit and the biscuits, that you couldn't beat that. And I think one of her favorite foods that everybody enjoyed was her fried pies. Now I've eaten the fried pies over at Mercier's and over at Wooten's, and I'll have to ask Schultz to forgive me for this, but since Mom was such good friends with Miss Schultz, I think they'll give me a pass on this. I think Mom's was the best fried pies in the world. Now Sicilian Waits and Brussels they come in second today. We'll let you be first tomorrow. I saw some of them talking about how Mom had taught them how to sew and everything, and Mama could do about anything with that sewing machine. And I'm sure that Joanne and Audrey can tell you more about that, because I'm sure that Mama made a lot of their own clothes for them as they were growing up. But I remember one time, I think I was like in the 5th grade, and Mama saved my life with that sewing machine. And what was going on was having an event at Mountain View one night, and I had to have a white shirt, a long sleeve white shirt. And I didn't try it on until the last minute. It came way down below my fingertips, and I thought, gosh, I cannot face these people with this shirt. I'm so embarrassed. Well, lo and behold, Mama just took the shirt, cut the sleeves off, got that sewing machine out. It looked brand new. My life was saved. I wasn't embarrassed when I went up to the school. And Mama was also, she had a green thumb, and she could root just about anything, and just about everybody that ever visited with Mom had to take home something that she had rooted. I know the friends from Good Springs, when they would come out to bring her a bulletin or visit with her, most of them had to take something that Mom had rooted, whether or not they wanted to or not. You couldn't give her a no for an answer. But she was good and had a green thumb. And most all the people, especially over at Athens Place, Mom got into coloring, and she was good. At her age, she was good. And I think everybody has a copy or had to tear out a spot out of that coloring book to take home. And she would give them to the residents there as birthday gifts and stuff. And it was amazing what she did. And that was one good thing I think about her, especially my last visit, and I'm sure Joanne's last phone call with Mom, was she was coloring that day. She had not like she had before, but she was still able to try to color. And also, Mom was a seed sower. And when we read in the Bible about the farmer that went out and sowed seeds, the parable that Jesus was talking about, and you say, well, when you're talking about that, you're talking about your daddy's ministry. And he did sow seed all over this county, and it touched a lot of people's lives. But in my case, when I was just a young boy, hadn't been saved yet, I was running out of the house one day. I think Maggie had pulled up, and I was going home with her that day. Mama calls me back, and she starts witnessing to me and saying if I ever need to talk to her and Dad, she would be there for me. And so she sowed that seed in my life, and it was weeks, months, maybe a year later that I accepted Jesus as my personal Savior. And you know, I can never thank her enough for that. And we all have bits and pieces of things that Mom used in her life, frying pans, cast iron skillets. I noticed somebody posted on Facebook that they had the dough cloth that Mom made the biscuit doughs on. And I know I got a picture from Brittany back in December. She had one of Mom's cast iron frying pans, and she was cooking a meal in it. She said, "Does this look familiar?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And every time I make cornbread, I'll thank Mama, because I'll be making it with her cast iron skillet. And I kind of keep it hid so nobody else can get to it. It's kind of special. And I know a lot of people has her recipes, and we'll remember Mom because of these recipes. And I noticed some of them posted on Facebook about they remembered all the sleepovers they had and what conversations they had. You know, I can't imagine what some of them were that they had with Mom. And no doubt we have lots of pictures we've taken, lots of pictures we've had from the past, and we'll remember Mom because of all of that. And I want to read a few verses out of 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 18. It says, "Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind, who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not receive those who have fallen. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words." And I was reading that, and what we know, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And this is going to make those Easter sunrise services even more important to all of us. Daddy loved Easter sunrises, and I think with so many of our loved ones here in this cemetery, not just Mom and Daddy or our grandparents, but a lot of our other loved ones, this is not the end. We'll be united again one of these days, and it'll be a joyful time.